It started innocently enough. Michael noticed a few squirrels darting across his backyard, nimbly leaping from tree to tree. At first, they only nibbled at the birdseed, but soon they were raiding gardens, toppling flower pots, and stealing fresh vegetables. He laughed, thinking of them as cute little bandits, but his neighbors were not as amused. Karen Whitmore, the HOA president, called him personally, her voice dripping with exasperation. "These squirrels are a mess. You must do something." Michael couldn't believe it. Nature had arrived in Maplewood Lane, and it was about to trigger a suburban war. The HOA wasted no time. Karen sent a formal warning, claiming Michael's backyard was an unsanctioned wildlife haven and violating community aesthetics. Fines were threatened if the squirrels were not removed. Michael was stunned. How could adorable, harmless squirrels be a legal problem? Meanwhile, the squirrels seemed oblivious to bureaucracy, continuing their daily raids with unmatched determination. The neighbors whispered about Squirrelgate, some secretly rooting for the little creatures while others feared escalating damage. Michael received the official notice in the mail. The HOA demanded he remove all squirrels from his property within 14 days. Failure would result in escalating fines. The letter included photos of raided bird feeders and chewed-up flower beds, as if the squirrels had signed confessions. Michael shared the notice on social media, and soon the story went viral. People everywhere laughed at the idea of an HOA declaring war on squirrels. Meanwhile, Michael decided he would not be bullied. The squirrels were not going anywhere. The neighborhood divided instantly. Some residents cheered the squirrels on, leaving extra food and building tiny squirrel houses. Others complained bitterly, citing property damage and health concerns. Arguments broke out over lawn care, birdseed policies, and tree trimming. Children, delighted by the chaos, began naming the squirrels. Nutmeg, Acorn, and Bandit became household names. The squirrels became minor celebrities, their antics live-streamed and shared across social media. The stage was set for a clash of suburban authority versus natural ingenuity. Determined to enforce their authority, the HOA implemented Operation Squirrel Patrol. Volunteers installed traps, motion sensors, and deterrent devices. Karen herself oversaw nightly stackouts, clipboard in hand. Michael, amused, watched the squirrels casually dodge every trap with uncanny intelligence. They leapt, scurried, and sometimes worked in teams, proving their agility and wit. Soon, the HOA volunteers were exhausted and demoralized. Social media audiences began calling it the Squirrel Uprising, praising the creatures for outsmarting human bureaucracy. The squirrels escalated their raids. Bird feeders were toppled, gardens ransacked, and tiny acorns were strategically scattered across lawns. One morning, the HOA discovered their own landscape shrubs chewed into intricate designs, almost as if mocking their efforts. Michael laughed as he watched a squirrel vault gracefully over a deterrent netting, landing perfectly on a feeding station. Karen's frustration boiled over. The HOA was losing the battle, and the squirrels were winning one acorn at a time. Michael began noticing a particularly cunning squirrel, larger and faster than the rest. He nicknamed her General Nutmeg. She appeared to coordinate raids, leading groups to strategic points in yards and feeders. Michael filmed her tactics, uploading videos online. People around the world watched in awe as General Nutmeg demonstrated intelligence, agility, and boldness beyond normal squirrel behavior. The HOA was flabbergasted. How could a squirrel have strategy, timing, and leadership? Meanwhile, the street rallied behind the tiny hero. Karen ordered professional pest control to intervene, promising swift removal of the squirrels. Michael's security cameras captured the entire operation, showing the squirrels outsmarting nets, tunnels, and bait. Each time the HOA tried to force them away, the squirrels regrouped. Even the pest control team gave up, amazed by their cleverness. Social media clips went viral, with hashtags like #SquirrelUprising trending nationwide. Michael realized the squirrels had become more than backyard pests. They were symbols of resistance against unnecessary control. Michael decided to fight back legally and ethically. He installed humane deterrents for areas where the squirrels were not welcome, leaving food in designated zones. He built small wooden squirrel houses, ensuring safety and comfort. Cameras documented the squirrels' daily life, proving they pose no real threat. Neighbors started following his lead, creating safe zones throughout the street. The strict measures began to look petty and unnecessary, and public sentiment overwhelmingly sided with the squirrels. Tensions peaked during a neighborhood meeting. Supporters of the squirrels clashed verbally with HOA loyalists. Children stood on chairs waving plush squirrel toys. Michael presented data. No injuries, no property destruction beyond natural wear. Social media screenshots and viral videos were shown as evidence. Karen attempted to regain authority, but she was drowned out by laughter, applause, and cheers for the squirrels. Maplewood Lane was no longer just a suburban street. It was the epicenter of a small, hilarious revolution. Video of General Nutmeg dodging an elaborate trap while 3 other squirrels carried away birdseed went viral globally. News outlets covered the story. HOA versus squirrels. The backyard battle you have to see. Children around the country drew cartoons, and memes spread online. Michael's backyard became a tourist spot for photographers and wildlife enthusiasts. Karen's attempts to control the narrative failed spectacularly. The squirrels were now minor celebrities, beloved for their wit and agility. The HOA tried one last legal maneuver, claiming property damage and nuisance. Michael countersued, citing wildlife protection laws and the fact that the squirrels had lived on his property for years. Evidence from cameras, videos, and neighbor testimonials supported him. The judge, amused by the story, ruled in favor of Michael, noting that the squirrels were harmless and served as a beneficial part of the neighborhood ecosystem. Karen's credibility took a huge hit, and the HOA had to officially back down. In a symbolic gesture, Michael hosted a squirrel feast, providing birdseed, nuts, and fresh fruits for his bushy-tailed allies. Hundreds of squirrels showed up from neighboring yards, happily raiding the feast. Neighbors cheered, children laughed, and even skeptics smiled. The squirrels had officially won, reclaiming their place in the neighborhood. The feast became an annual tradition, cementing the squirrels' role in the community. With the legal ruling and viral fame, the HOA officially acknowledged defeat. Karen was sidelined, and the board issued a formal statement. Squirrels were part of the ecosystem and were to be respected. Michael's backyard became a model for humane wildlife coexistence. Local news celebrated the story as a humorous yet inspiring example of nature triumphing over bureaucracy. The street was peaceful again, with both humans and squirrels living side by side in harmony. Months later, Maplewood Lane thrived as a hub of cooperation between humans and squirrels. Children played under oak trees, while General Nutmeg and her troops scurried freely. Michael harvested small amounts of nuts and honeydew from backyard plants, sharing them with neighbors. The story of the backyard rebellion became legendary, reminding everyone that sometimes the smallest creatures can teach the greatest lessons: resilience, cleverness, and the value of coexistence. Harmony had been restored, and laughter filled the street once more.